Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Thursday night, July the 30th. These are the charts of the day. Market had a good day, and a lot of our stocks did well. A few old ones, a few new ones. We're going to show you the long side today, starting with BLDR. Now, back in April, when the stock merged with the big competitor, the stock exploded, and then it's gone sideways for 4 months, but awoken the last 2 days. Yesterday, volume came in as it surged a bit. Today it popped 95 cents or 7%. It's traded 3.8 million shares and it's broken out. Now, when looking at the multi-year highs, going way back, if we can get this up in a moment, you should see that BLDR's weekly chart shows that it is headed perhaps for a test at the top of the channel around 1585. If it blows through that, and we start to get some kind of ramp up, or even if the channel expands, you could very well see this at 18 or 19 short term. Keep an eye on it. It looks pretty good. There's almost 10 days to cover on top of that short. 9.89. So it could be a player. Cara Therapeutics. What I really like about today is after the big explosive move and the falling wedge, the volume really ramped up, and it was about almost 1,000% more than normal. So very, very big, exceptional volume on it as the stock jumped just a little bit, but 3.25 million traded, 2.68 days to cover. I think we're going to get a retest of the 21.60-70 zone, and then we'll see if we can punch through into the low 20s. 24.5 would be my next target beyond that. Up next is EHTH. I'm showing you stocks that are ramping up and blowing out. This one, after popping in May, went quiet for a couple months, tried to move up and then retested. Boy, what a move today, jumping 22.3% or 283 in closing at 1550. Now, that was almost a point off the high, but it's normal to take some profit taking. It did close well, and at this point, I think supports at the recent highs around 15.25. So I'm expecting the stock to extend, perhaps even fill the gap, and get up into the 19.25 half range. That will be my target if it takes out the high for today. With 8 days to cover, we can get a bit of a squeeze on that. Well, our swing trade on Etsy is working out, and today was a nice pop. Out of the wedge across multiple sessional highs, you can see the stock jumping 222 or 11.7%, 2.3 million. And with 7.45 days to cover, we may see a retest of the high, recent spike high at 23.45 or so, and we may even get it up to test the 25.5 area. So 23.5, 25.5 targets in the next few days potentially. And if I draw back and have this be the channel and widen it to look a little bit like that, you can see where the potential is for Etsy going forward, as much as high 20s. Now FIT IPO, recent IPO with a pop and pullback, and another breakout, top of the channel, pullback for 2 days, and then reach the top of the channel again. The stock then went into a 2-week consolidation. Tried to ramp up 2 days ago and backed off, and today again reversal off the low. As low as 42.64, and then a pop of almost 3 points to close up $1.12. And volume was almost 3 million. I think we're going to get a breakout, and if we do, the next resistance is 47.5, followed by the spike high at 49 roughly. So look for a move through those, and as high as 52 is my target for a swing trade. Now Flamel with a big reversal today, very impressive to me. 21.85 low, 24 high, close 23.88, up 88 cents, almost 4%. But now nice reversal, and we're going to set today's low as your stopping point, about 21.75.85, or if you want to give it a little leeway, under the 50-day moving average at 21.15. Nevertheless, if we do spike up, we could get a retest of the highs here if we get a follow through at about 26.25, and then I'm looking for about 28. HOLX on earnings exploded today, and you can see that the recent channel shows a almost perfect touch of the 50-day and the channel bottom, before an explosive move today takes it through the channel top, up 272 or 7.15% on 12.7 million. Now, that's the biggest volume I've seen since the big spike down day back in 2013. So biggest volume in 2 years, looking like it wants to go higher. In very good shape here, 4.5 days to cover. we could see a squeeze. Next target's 44.45. MBLY, I'm really liking the way the stock is looking in here. After reaching the top of the channel and reversing, it's come down to the moving averages and the channel held and moving back up. What I want to see is, can this extend, retest this high, and then maybe make a move towards the high 60s, my target around 67. Monster Worldwide with a big pop today. Now take a look at the pattern over the last few years. Big left shoulder, head and right shoulder, a massive bottoming type pattern. What I want to see is, do we get through 7705? Today's high was 697, so close. If we do get through that, look for a move up towards 8 3/4, my next target. NTRI with a big day today. As you can see, exploded from 27 to 32. Finished back to 30 3/4, up 553 or 22%. That's a huge day. Here's the weekly. You can see that it once was a stock in the 80s. Came down dramatically, and as you know, this was on my short list for a long time. But after the big wedge form that broke out and retested, held at 50 as well and the trend line, and started moving higher. Lateral resistance at the 2010 high comes in around 33.33, and just today's high was 32.05, so we're only a point and a quarter away from that. Let's see if we can advance to that level tomorrow. That would be a nice, 2.5 point move. And more importantly, if this is a new channel beginning, maybe we see a stock that's going to run into the high 40s eventually. So that's something to keep an eye on, as with 8 days to cover short, we can see a squeeze underway here. Open text with a spectacular earnings report, and the stock just exploded from 36.65 to 46.25, nearly $10. It closed up, it gapped up and then ran up, ending up 8.10 or 21.5%. But when you look at the daily chart, it ran through a couple areas of resistance. It got right to the gap and stalled there at the close. So even if it does pull back and consolidate, it maybe is set up for higher levels. First a gap fill, getting up to about 49, and then a run up to this level, which tells me there's a possibility of close to 52. So 49 and 52 potential targets on OTEX. 4.56 days to cover. Pegasystems up with 5.9 days to cover, jumped 15% today, or 354, and had a wonderful session. If you look at the long-term chart on the weekly, you'll see that the rising tops here were tagged, but more importantly, the recent high in this zone was taken out with a thrust today on 1.7 million. I would have to say that I'm looking for higher levels here, and probably something on the order of this would be my target. Let's give it a run up to, say, 34. That could be very interesting. Keep an eye on this one. Ruckus Wireless with an explosive move, 18.9% or $1.95, and with nearly 10 days to cover. This one started to get some short covering today. We got a double top up here, but that's my target, up near 13, 13 and a quarter. We get through that, 15 and a quarter and a half. Shopify, the recent IPO, which exploded here and then came down hard, has turned it around. This falling wedge was broken with a thrust here. A little bit of a wedge consolidation above the moving average, always bullish. Today the breakaway gap. What I want to see is it going to take out the recent post-IPO highs? If it does that, we can see something much more than that. So watch for see if we do get through 42.5. If that occurs, maybe the stock runs into the mid-40s. VLTC, well, I'm really liking that explosive move, the falling wedge in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave decline, broke out, and a 3-wave move up to resistance resulted in this wedge here. Today it popped on 2 million shares, 13.4%, or 99 cents, and closed at the upper end of the range. That's a good thing. What I'm looking to see is, can it get through 885? If it does, my target is near 10.5 3/4, and then we're looking at 13, 13 and a quarter as potential targets going forward with VLTC. Yellow Roadway not only exploded yesterday and had a nice little inside day today, but look at after hours. They reported earnings and they were terrific. The after hour move took it from 15 and change to almost 18. As a matter of fact, it did trade at 18, closing 1740, up about 212 after hours. So expect a big day tomorrow. More importantly, that's right around resistance. If we get through that, very well could see the stock run to 19.5 3/4 up here. And lastly is Zeop, which although it didn't explode today, is setting up for what looks like a big move with a triple top here. I'm expecting a test of the recent highs of 1440 and then a blowout that takes his stock all the way to first around 18 and then around 21.5. And that's it for tonight, everybody. Have a good evening.